forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking to my guest here. I'm talking to Joel Dommett. He's made the observation that we're on the same page, and I think we are. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you. I'd love to think that we're on the same page, and we'll find out throughout this. What have we got? 3 hours interview?
Yeah, this is a 3-hour kind of intro, and then we get into the meat of it. Now, you live near me. I live in Twickenham, and you live in
sort of the sort of Shepperton Weybridge area.
Oh,
it's not. I say when I say to people where I live, I say Weybridge because I think it's posher than Shepperton.
Definitely.
But we're actually in Shepperton.
Cliff Richard used to live in Weybridge on St. George's Hill.
Yeah, God, man, those houses there are crazy.
But that's gated, isn't it? How do you get to see them?
Yes, I don't.
You've been on Google Earth again, haven't you?
I've been looking on Google Earth.
Would you go and live on one of those sort of gated communities? Would you?
I don't know. Well, we've got to think about moving.
Oh, you've made an offer, haven't you?
Oh
no!
Basically, we're in a difficult position where we moved, and 5 years ago or so, lovely place, like it.
Of course, your earnings have rocketed since then, and you're thinking, I'm too good for this area.
I need to go next door to Brydon. That's what I need to do.
I know. I need to leapfrog Brydon.
And then we had it was very open and nice, and then we had the problem of people kept on knocking on my door and running away and shouting, "Take it off, take it off, take it off." Funny to them, really scares my wife.
Funny to you the first time, maybe. You never guess what
100%.
happened to some kids outside.
Yep.
And they really are.
And so we got a gate. We got a gate and a hedge.
But how does that affect deliveries?
It makes it harder.
Because we've resisted a gate for that very reason.
But actually, it's good because we had a few parcels stolen from outside our door.
Yeah.
And so now people do, even if you are to throw it over the gate and you break the thing, but at least someone else can't have it.
Okay. We had a phase of people shouting outside our front door at night. We're near a university. So but it seems to have, it's eased off. And I don't know what, it probably says my star, such as it is waning.
Well, I will be there tonight shouting, "Would I lie to you?"
But I think that
say, is it true or is it false?
Yeah. I think it's a lie.
I'm such a fan of this. I think it's such a good podcast.
Do you seriously?
I genuinely think it's wonderful. And I'm trying to figure out why I enjoy listening to it so much, because there's lots of guested podcasts these days, and I don't really. There's something about your interview style, your voice is so delicious to listen to. I wish I could just close my eyes now.
Somebody given Joel some money here. Is that? Well, thank you very much.
It's
because
beautiful.
we don't have any. Of course, we don't have any gimmicks. We don't. And I'm not against a gimmick, but we don't say, what's your favorite type of toast, or let's ask this week's guest what tog duvet they have.
Yep.
Although God knows I've tried to come up with that. Yeah. When we were planning this originally, we were for a while, it was going to be called Biscuits with Brydon, because we thought that it needed to have some kind of gimmick. And the idea was that the guest would choose the biscuit.
Yep.
And I'm sort of glad that we...
What's your favorite biscuit if you were to go for a biscuit?
Well, I try to avoid them now because of the sugar kind of crash. But, all right, look at this. Joel, we've talked about whether or not to live in a gated community, okay? We've talked about having a gate installed to get your marauding fans at a reasonable distance. And now I'm going to tell you that my favourite biscuit is Fortnum & Mason's Toffalossus.
Oh, my Lord. I don't even know how to pronounce that. That's an unbelievable... A Toffalossus?
Toffalossus. Have you never had one?
Toffalossus.
You never had one?
Sounds like a mixture between a dinosaur and a Made in Chelsea character.
Yeah, Georgia Toffalo. Look at me down with the kids. You are going back on tour.
Yes.
Happy Idiot. Why that title?
I think it sort of sums me up. I think I think actually it sums up my comedic style quite well.
Right.
Really, it usually is me being overly optimistic and thinking the best of people in a slightly sort of naive and stupid way.
All right.
And I think that sort of, if I was to sum up my story style, I think it would be Happy Idiot. Really.
When did you realize that was your voice or your persona?
I think it just took time, and that's what I love about it, the process of it all. Because when you're young and there's no pressure. Back then, especially, there was no social media really, so you had the time to go to comedy clubs every single night. I'd have this little bike that I bought in a charity shop, and because I had a bike, it gave me the opportunity to do more gigs. So I'd do like 2 or 3 a night, just riding my bike from place to place, get there all sweaty, go on stage, do it again, go home, write notes. I had this little flat in Elephant and Castle that I sort of subletted from my friend, really cheap, unbelievably cheap. And then all the comedians used to come back to my house, and we would just watch YouTube, which was a very new thing at that time, until like 4 a.m, just watching these American acts in like, the Laugh Factory or whatever, which was never to people's disposal. The generation before us, they just had to buy DVDs. And if they were to watch an American act, it would be a very established American act. But suddenly we had a wealth of comedy, good, bad, different styles, all like it just felt like such an exciting time. We didn't even know it, but it was such an exciting time for comedy.
Who were the other comedians? Anybody I might have heard of?
James Acaster used to stay at my house a lot.
I love James.
Oh, his episode on this wonderful podcast was so brilliant.
Oh, I love James.
He is such a wonderful anomaly in the way that he I really think that he changed our generation in a weird way.
Wow.
Because we were all going to Edinburgh together, me, him, we used to live in this flat together, Josh Widdicombe, Tom Allen, Stu Goldsmith, like all these brilliant people, Nick Helm. And we were all sort of pushing each other, and that was what's so wonderful about the Edinburgh thing, because it's like your final exams every year where other people are sort of judging you. And James just pushed it further than all of us in the way of like the effort that he would put into the craft of it all. I think a lot of the other the comedians, I think myself included, was a hobby, and it was so fun, and I was just wrapped up in it, and I was obsessed with it, but I was just enjoying it. It was just lovely to have James to push us every year. And so it became this thing of like, I've got to keep up with James.
Wow.
And whether it was sort of, I think that was subconscious more than conscious, but he just pushed the envelope way more than anybody else. And but then you also had, like Josh, who was doing these shows that was so lazy.
At the other extreme, then you got Josh Widdicombe, who is an dreadful excuse for a comedian, really, isn't he? When I had him on, I said, I was quite pleased with this. I said he looked as though he'd been designed by Jim Henson.
Yes.
And if you look at Josh, right, he could be a Muppet.
Yeah.
In the nicest sense.
In the nicest way possible. And I think he would take that.
Who will be supporting you on Happy Idiot?
Well, I think actually this time
you're going to do 2 halves.
Yeah. Only because I've never done that before. I've always taken tour sports before.
Oh, interesting.
And I really enjoy that. I'm taking some great people away with me. But
so you've got to structure 2 halves then.
Yeah.
You've got to have them teetering at the end of the first. You've got to give them a minor victory at the end of the first half.
That's what I'm thinking.
Start it up again and then give them a bigger climax at the end of the whole show.
Oh, no. Would you like to direct it?
I think somebody has to, because you've not given it much thought, have you? You've taken a Widdicombe approach to this more than an Acaster approach.
God damn it. That was no slight.
No, Dommett.
God Dommett is the name I should have done.
Oh, what a... God Dommett. Oh, come on.
I'm livid.
That's beautiful.
I'm livid.
Have you honestly never thought of that?
No, I thought of, the one time that I won't, ever become this big, but I was ever to become sort of international. World domination is a fun one. Are you particularly big in any other countries?
No.
Have you ever thought of doing like the America thing? I get the sense from you that you are like someone who could like be like secretly big in Germany.
Bonnie Tyler, very big.
Yep.
In several European countries.
Yeah, Hasselhoff.
And it's quite a funny thing, isn't it? That when we hear that, we tend to be a little bit sniffy, or we want to be comical about it. But it's great.
I would love to be big in Germany.
Good for Bonnie. I mean, terrific, you know. No, I can play Australia, New Zealand. I tour there, and I love that. But no, I've always assumed that to do anything in America, you'd have to commit a lot of time to it.
Would I Lie to You goes across to BBC America?
Yeah, some people have seen it, but, tiny numbers. Anyway, never mind that. We're not talking about me. So let's talk about your TV career, because I knew you did a lot of stuff, but I didn't realize until I looked up just how much. We'll go in reverse order. Your most recent victory, you've just won the Gladiators Celebrity Special.
Yes. It was absolutely mad. Right, like a mad, those moments where you're like oh, I'm in the telly now. I'm in it. I'm in this gladiatorial arena, and I'm next to Bradley Walsh, and I'm in the leotard.
And Barney Walsh.
And Barney.
All the known Walshes.
All the Walshes.
Well, all the known Walshes.
All the known Walshes.
Because there'll be Mrs. Walsh. There could be other siblings.
I'm sure she
was
was
Brad
there.
and Barney, they're the known Walshes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're wonderful as they are.
Yeah.
They would, and me and Rob sort of...
Was he in it as well?
Rob was the other person I was against.
Rob Beckett got to the final.
Yes. It was me against him. Celebrity.
Was it like a soft play version? I can, with the greatest respect to Rob, but I can picture you doing well in it.
Don't ever underestimate the Beckett.
It's too late.
Don't ever underestimate him. His legs are like fine oaks.
So were you having to do things like hanging off stuff? And Rob Beckett could do that.
Yeah, he was see, the things that I failed at. Yeah. I have zero sort of combativeness. I'm awful at fighting.
Okay.
I don't like any sort of argument or like fisticuffs.
Yeah.
I think the fact that I call it fisticuffs is a good indication of that.
Tells us all we need to know.
And whereas Rob Beckett, he loves to get stuck in, that boy.
So you won the boys.
So I won the boys.
And Ellie won the girls.
Yeah. And
who else had been mad enough to sign up for this?
It was just us four.
Because I didn't get an inquiry on this.
You should do it. You should do it.
Not in a million years.
Imagine legend and steel.
Yeah. No, they get the old brigade in. So who was it? You, Rob Beckett. Who else?
And Louise against and Ellie, and that was it. There's the four of us.
Oh, just the four of you, right? Okay.
And it was close. It was closer than you think. Again, Rob Beckett, he's sturdy.
So did you have to hit each other with like those giant cotton bud
things? The big pewter sticks.
Is that what they're called?
I would go against, we each went against a gladiator.
Oh, I see.
And then we go against each other in the final round.
But if you go against a real gladiator, you haven't got a hope in hell, have you?
No, I mean, I like to think that they were being slightly nice to us. But I mean, there was moments where they went in. I'm not a rugby player.
No.
I don't know how to sort of approach this.
No.
I don't know my flanker from my
prop.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say West End, thinking that was a position in rugby, but it's
no, it's a branch of our business, darling.
That's how un-rugby I am.
Your television career, The Masked Singer, is how I think I first became aware of you. And do you remember that time that we sat 5 years ago now, next to each other, near each other at an award ceremony?
Yes.
And it was when it was on, and we were watching it avidly.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a very confident assertion as to the identity of one of the singers, and I actually said I'd be willing to bet my house on it.
Yep.
My ungated house. And I was wrong.
You were wrong.
This must happen a lot, though. People must come up to you and say, I'm sure this is so-and-so. Do you genuinely not know?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. And I think that's
probably
of the fun
best
of it.
then that you don't know, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise I would have written up a contract for your house. But I do remember that, you turning around. This is funny because this was the NTAs. This is the year before I hosted the NTAs.
Yeah, which you've done for 4 years now.
Yes.
Well done.
It was so fun. And I remember you turning around and going like, if that's not Charlotte Church, I'll give you my house.
And it wasn't Charlotte Church. But she has done it since then, hasn't she?
She has. She was Mushroom.
Yeah. Do you remember who it was? And who was it that I thought was Charlotte Church?
I think it was Queen Bee who went on to win.
And who was the person? Is Queen Bee a rapper or something?
It was Nicola from Girls Aloud.
It was Nicola from Girls Aloud?
Yes.
Was it? Oh, all right.
And,
okay.
It's such a mad show, isn't it? You've been there. You've been a guest judge.
I was a judge. I was a judge in the final when Danny Jones won it. And I know Danny enough to, say hello to. This is what I say to my kid. My kids say to me, do you know so-and-so, Dad? And I go, well, enough to say hello to. Yep. Drives them crazy. Yeah.
Would you say you know me enough to say hello to? Yeah, that's
what I'd say about you. But it's today now, it's progressing. But yeah, do you know Joel Dommett? Yeah, I know him enough to say hello to.
Yeah.
You
can, enough to send a voice note to now, I'd say.
I don't have your number.
Well.
After today.
I'm excited for this.
After today. Come on, we'll move it to another level.
I'm very excited.
But no, I did it. And here's my big problem with it, right?
Yeah.
I cannot do the standing up and dancing. When my kids saw that episode and saw me doing that thing.
There's a lot of it.
Oh, and Davina is a queen of creating shapes for the camera and knowing that the camera needs something to look at, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough just for so someone would say something and Davina would go,
yeah.
I think, what on earth are you doing? But then I saw the edit. I went, oh.
She knows.
Very clever.
She knows. She's absolutely wonderful as Davina McCall.
Yeah.
She has become sort of my TV mother who looks like she's my sister.
Daughter.
She looks fantastic. Yeah, whatever age she looks incredible.
Yeah. It's the Masked Singer then that makes you go whoosh.
Yeah.
And now they do an arena tour of that show, a live version.
Yeah, we did an arena tour.
So what does that involve? The guessing is gone then. It's just let's enjoy.
So we keep it all a secret.
Oh.
We have different guests each time. This was a couple of years ago we did this.
So this isn't a regular thing. It was a one-off.
It was a one-off.
Right. Okay.
But it did well, and it was great. It was like really fun, and I would have a microphone, and I would run around the audience.
Yes.
Going like, "Who do you think it is?"
Oh, okay.
And who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? And it would be so funny just to go to the kids.
Oh, so it wouldn't be, say, Nicola from Girls Aloud being Queen Bee again.
No.
These would be. What, people who hadn't been on the TV show?
Hadn't been on the TV show and new costumes too.
Oh.
So it was really fun.
Right.
And there was one instance where it was I ran into, there was this costume that was brilliant. They sang, ran down into the audience to see who they thought it was. And I saw this parent, father whisper in the ear of his daughter. And so I asked the daughter, I was like, who do you think it is? And then the father whispered in the ear of the daughter, and the daughter in an arena, I think it was the O2, went, Whitney Houston. And immediately 12,000 people just laughing at one 6-year-old.
Because Whitney was dead.
Because she's dead. Bless her heart. Bless her heart. But that, literally, that's something Rita Ora used to do.
What?
Rita Ora, at one point, guest, and there was no sort of humor behind it. She genuinely thought that
Whitney was still alive.
Could be a person. She guessed Muhammad Ali.
And she didn't know that Muhammad Ali...
Zero jest.
...has left us.
Zero. And also the fact that she thought Muhammad Ali would be...
I don't think Muhammad Ali, even before his dementia, even before his death, well, his death would have ruled it out entirely. But,
I think he's more likely to do the show when he's dead than he is when he was alive, to be fair.
Well, he's got just as much chance of booking him. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So
Yes.
it was very fun.
You're about to tour. Now, how long a tour is this?
I think it's probably going to extend into next year, to be fair.
Big sheer demand.
Yeah, it's going to keep going. And I love to do, basically a tour usually for me lasts about 2 years. Dots on, dots off, because around TV work, it needs to sort of do that. And then I'll probably have 2 years not touring, and then 2 years again, 2 years on, 2 years off for the touring stuff, and then TV stuff in between. I feel very lucky that when I started in this business, all I loved was comedy. I loved it so much. And the all I ever wanted was just to be able to tweet or Instagram or whatever, to go like, I'm doing this, I'm doing some new material here. If anyone wants to come along to it. And that room to have people in. That's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like 1,000 people. I'm talking like 40 people in to be able to fill that room, to be able to get enough of a sense of where the jokes work.
Hold on to that dream.
One day.
Don't give up on it.
One day.
Because I believe in you.
I just want to be as famous as Josh Widdicombe.
No, hey, steady on. I didn't know, and we're drawing to a close soon, but I didn't know that you were tattooed.
I'm tattooed, yes.
Who's that?
That is, it's Gregory Peck.
Why in God's name have you got Gregory Peck on your forearm interior?
It says Paradigm Case it says there in writing underneath him, and that's a movie that he was in, and it was the first film that my grandparents saw together on their first date. And I haven't seen it, but apparently it's really bad. To which I
say, so what?
Yep. I haven't seen it yet. I don't want to see it either, because I think that was...
I don't want to see it after seeing that. What's your wife's name?
Hannah.
When you first met Hannah's parents, how long before they saw Gregory Peck from a rather obscure, I mean, it's not To Kill a Mockingbird, on their potential son-in-law's forearm, and what was their reaction?
I think I think my vocal tone gives off so much of a unbad boy.
Yeah, it does.
That if I was to reveal, horrific tattoos as I do have, people still aren't thinking, "Oh God, that guy's clearly a bad boy."
No, they're thinking, "What's going on?" And then the other side of that same arm, was that a miner's lamp?
That's it, miner's lamp. That was from the jungle. So, like, when I would wake up in the jungle, they had these sort of miner's lamps that would be hanging at the end of your bed, or sort of your hammock. And you have nothing to do when you're in the jungle, nothing to do at all, apart from if you go off for a trial, it's amazing. Or I would wake up at whatever time it would be in the morning. Larry,
so do the hours just tick by really slowly?
Really, like literally a day feels like a week.
Really?
A week feels like a month. A month feels like a year.
And you're hungry.
And you're so hungry. And so all I would do is I would think to myself a different thing every day. I wrote a list before I went in. I was like, just ideas to muse over, something to like occupy my mind. Otherwise I felt like I would go mad. And so one of those things on one of those days was think about what tattoo you're going to get next. Okay. And so I just spent all day just thinking about what tattoo I was going to get next. And then I just looked up and I was like, well, I'll just get that.
Okay, well, that explains it, but it doesn't. No, I don't want we're here forever. No. Do you have any on your stomach or your chest?
No, I've got...
Just the arms? No, you do.
I've got a bad... This one's going to shock you.
Well, yeah. What? Okay, if for those that can't see this, he's sort of leaning. He's pulled up his top and he's got a very colourful... Who is it?
I don't really know.
It's not Amy Winehouse, is it?
No, it's... No. Well, my wife thinks it looks like one of my ex-girlfriends, but it's absolutely not.
All right, let's leave it there. Joel...
It's a lady who's crying.
I prefer to leave it on. My wife thinks it looks like one of my ex-girlfriends, but it's absolutely not.
I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not.
Wow, I wasn't expecting those, but I was expecting, how about this? I was expecting to enjoy our conversation, and do you know what? I really have.
I'm sure you say that to everybody.
Not necessarily. We've had a few stinkers.
It's an absolute joy to be here with you, opposite you, with you the things you've given to this nation. in terms of creatively. Podcasts now. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what, Rob? Long may it last.
Joel Dommett, I think he speaks for us all. Goodbye.